Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. Well, I found this one again randomly, bit bit different, set in Australia, a lot of fun, typical monster movie. So can't go wrong with those. So we're talking about Boar, released in 2017 by directed by Chris Sun. Yep, and this is set in the Australian outback. Interesting location, and it's kind of funny for a horror movie setting because everybody knows that in Australia everything's trying to kill you. So you've got people acting surprised that everything that has claws, fangs, or tusks is trying to eviscerate them, and acting as if that's not the case. So I find that quite amusing. But yeah, all in all, this is decent flick, good characters. We start off with got your typical meatbag couple to start off this slasher movie. They're driving along. Guy swerves to avoid a rabbit, and then we see all the wildlife starting to run through the bush and escape. And then you see a CGI pig, like a smaller version of the boar, getting hoofed, which was funny. And we get introduced quite early on to this behemoth of a razorback type creature. I don't know if that's the same species, like the razorbacks they have in North America, Canada sort of area. I don't know if this is a relative of it or just big pigs. These used to roam the UK boars. A lot of Europe. I think they're trying to reintroduce them for some strange reason. And wolves again. There you go. Definitely plenty of wildland around if it's up chopping down bloody trees for stupid solar farms. Yeah, because that makes sense. Chop down trees to put up technology. That helps the environment. But yeah, there's areas that are trying to bring us back over here. So yeah, you want creatures here that can kill you. But anyway, round over. Yeah, so this starts off good. We then get introduced to another family, and we've got I suppose what one of these blended families. You've got Bruce, who's married, he's a token American in this. You've got his wife, their two kids, and then their kid's boyfriend is along in the back as well. Driving along, and they're kind of getting introduced. They're going to this small town. We go into the small town. We kind of meet the characters. Your typical salt of the earth Australian types that we've known and loved. The stereotype we've loved over the years. I don't like these modern Australians in cities that get on like Americans. Absolute tits. Not too fussed in them. I like these type of Australians that are straight talking, no nonsense, messing about, just salt the earth, work the land, and get on with stuff. These are the type I'll happily engage with all day. Hey, Chris. Yeah, it is about a wild boar. The clues in the title and the big tusks and that there. I wonder, at least similar to the razorbacks, is a similar species in North America. That's what I was just asking before you popped on there. But yeah, we meet the whole cast. Got this guy Blue. Old fella, his daughter runs the pub. He's heading out to fix the fences because, bit of foreshadowing, fences are being knocked down and livestock's getting killed. And as I said, in Australia, everything's trying to kill you, so it's not really news. It's just part of the life. There's always something bigger and gnarlier out there. Fair play to people that live in tell this type of land because it's no, from the looks of it, I've never been, but from the looks of it, like it's not messing about. So yeah, we get Blues out there. He meets his mate when he's filling up his truck, and then it's this whole we'll get introduced to the community, which is quite cool, and the fact that they all have bar tabs, and you've got his drunkard mate. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going out to meet your dad. Yeah, grab him a few tennies as in big flipping case, and she gives them sandwiches because they have to feed themselves at some point, and that sort of thing." But But yeah, oh well. I like these two characters. I'm ashamed. It's a shame Blue's character didn't quite last as long because those two then encounter. There's another family out camping. They encounter the boar, and I love the fact that a polystyrene tent offers some sort of protection until you pull the zipper open. That's brilliant. So one guy goes out to have a wee, he gets dispatched quite quickly, and the girl in the tent's like, oh, and somehow that protects her until she opens it and it sticks his head in. And you're like, okay. Good practical effects in this. Like I laughed at the wee bit of CGI in it, but the boar itself, they've done it and they've got the fur, and the fur actually comes off when it bashes against stuff, and it's that creature feature type setting up with it. That's a lot of fun. More of this, please, with movies, because you can respect, even though you know it's not a real boar and you know it's a puppet, you respect the work that's went into it to create the movie, so you forgive it. I think we've got past the point where we were impressed with CGI and actually ruins your suspension of disbelief. That makes sense because you just know it's done on the computer screen. Where for some reason, if you know somebody's went and crafted the puppet and made the tusks and painted it and made up the blood and used their special recipe and made it all done and actually went as far as putting the fur comes out and to make this thing move, you can kind of let go of that and go, yeah, I'm along for the ride. Because you know yourself, they're not gonna. It is fantasy. When you turn on the TV screen, we're watching a drama, we're watching fantasy. So we're not morons. We're not thinking it's a real actual boar that they're actually killing people with. So why not make a bit of effort with the practical effects and give your movie some clout? Just my thought. We had this whole discussion yesterday about how the two have blended together, and that's when you get a good movie. But when you're relying one or the limitations of one and this blockiness of the other, it doesn't work. Yeah, they're basically that's what they are. They're feral pigs. They're big, but they're not quite. What do you call it? There's loads of different types of wild pig that can quite happily gore you to pieces. It's having tusks and the thing, but definitely in North America, the razorback is, I would say, better known. And well, let's just be honest, Australia, you don't really differentiate between what's trying to kill you. I remember the joke of the wee opossum thing, like biting onto somebody's finger and goes, yeah, everything in Australia is trying to kill you. Don't get me wrong, this thing wants to, it just can't. that sort of thing. They played doing the stories by the campfire. They're talking about the drop bears and all that kind of stuff. The thing is, you'd half believe it. Like knowing the gnarly stuff that's in Australia, that you kind of half believe there are feral koalas out there. There's bound to be a horror movie about koalas. If there is, let me know. I'll have to go and look that up. But if you know a decent one, or a really schlocky, cheesy one that I could have a laugh with about killer koala bears, please put links in the description because that would be fun. That would be a Saturday night with a few beers type thing. And then we'll go on. Blue and Frig, is it Bruce? Is his mate? They go and discover the campsite because they see it and they have the rifle, but that pissed. They forgot to put the bullets, they forgot to put the rounds in the rifle, and they leave the rounds in the truck. And then they walk all the way over there and realize they've got an empty rifle, and then one of them has to go back. Here's the thing, it gets explained at the end, but this boar can move about. For a gigantic boar, it can flip and get around by places because one minute it's turning this campsite apart, and then it's getting someone who's walked half a mile away, and then it's back to the start again. And you're kind of like, holy crap, this thing is not only stealthy like a ninja, but flip, it can get around. As well as happened, Blue sends Bruce back to get the bullets for the gun, and he goes on the campsite and sees a girl. She's been left in a sorry state. I thought he was going to be the hero of the movie. They're bound to, but you know why horror gets buried. Uh, that'll be if I could be arsed doing themes that I mean the amount of funny enough the amount of research and plan that would take to make it look as if okay, this week we're going to do killer animals, the next week killer fish or something, flipping the amount of digging about and that you'd have to go and find all them movies and queue them up. It's actually more hassle than just I like my technique of just finding random stuff and staying away from I know I'll do some mainstream as well, but I like finding just random movies and just seeing where we go. It's called Drop and came out in 2021. Let's have a look at that. Yes, another tangent. Yes, I'm not even started really reviewing this. The Drop. Nope. Just called Drop. Drop movie 2021. Oh, there we go. Haha. Right, that will be on the queue. That will be watched. I will find this and I will watch that before the end of this week. Guaranteed. Yeah, flipping killer dropper. That's a must. One of my favorite zombie movies is an Australian one, funny enough, Wormwood Road of the Dead. And I'm not a fan of zombie movies, but the Australians have such a way about them that they just go with the ridiculousness of it. I don't think I've ever covered it in this channel. I'll have to dig that one out again and maybe talk about it. That's a fun movie, and it's just got that. I love the Australian sense of humor. It's like British sense of humor, but with the gloves off. Just put it like that. Like nothing's nothing's sacred, and it's great. Don't ever change. The street Aussies don't ever change. But yeah, back to that. So Blue is trying to rescue a girl, and I genuinely thought he was going to be the hero of this movie. I thought he was the one that was going to like carry it on through, but sadly, no, he gets wiped out. But he has a good go. He he has a wee knife and he's like trying to poke a flipping humongous boar with tusks like the size of katanas. And he's like, so you knew I wasn't going to go well. But what it does, it prompts because his daughter owns a bar. They've basically disappeared now for 2 days. Yes, yeah, I called it up there while I was talking. Yeah, yeah, you just know it's going to be daft as hell. I'm probably going to love it if the acting isn't. Because that's the thing with these sort of movies. Like even this, the ridiculousness of a giant boar and the slockiness of it. You have to have a good cast, and you have to have likable characters that you're invested in, or else it doesn't work. If it's done flat as a pancake, if you've got wooden acting, this stuff doesn't come across. You got to have investment, and bloody hell, there's a absolute fun cast in this. But Blue's daughter is Brenda. She's the bar owner. There's this scene. I think it's just to set her out to be how strong she is, but it's a bit of a ridiculous scene when you think of the location. So this is a small town. Everybody knows each other. Everybody's grown up together. And you have this idiot youngster decides to slap her in the arse. This is the middle of the day, so it's not like it's a Saturday night and they're all tanked. This is lunchtime pints. Quiet as hell. And he decides to be a sex pest in the middle of the day in front of his father, by the way. You know what I mean? He's sitting with his father, and I don't know, another family member, and like even the guys are like they don't even address him. They're like they talk to the father, going, "Control your mutt." Instantly, that's social standing there that shaming the father through the son's actions. If that makes sense, but who does that? Um, I've been to quite a number of bars over the years, and I've yet to see someone like proper harass uh the barmaid like that. And I've done the door, so I've been a doorman, and even then, there's always the idiot that's like, bleh, but I've never seen someone actually grab the barmaid, especially in broad daylight. You just don't. You get flipping your arse handed to you, which this guy, I don't know what the hell's going on, but he's like, yeah, I'll give you a free shot and all, and fight with her like in front of everybody. Like this guy's he's going to be shunned like in that community. It's weird. Like the daughter's well respected, the family's well respected, um, and everyone's getting pissed off and just waiting for a chance. But she's handling it, so she punches them in the face. But then we get introduced to who is it? The flipping big guy, Bernie, Uncle Bernie, who, funny enough, the family that was seeing the car are going to visit, and he just comes in. He's like, poof, and just splats the guy. This is a big dude. We'll get introduced. The boyfriend of the family. Those ones were traveling in. He's a bit of a sleaze bag as well, but Bernie's kind of warned him off, just joking. He's like borderline psychopath. You don't know whether he's going to turn serious or not. But yeah, he slaps this guy about, and she's like, "I had him sorted." It's like, yeah, I've just finished him off for you. And everyone else is like, just we were waiting our turn, sort of thing. It's a bit of a stupid scene, but it was also a good scene, demonstrating the strength of the community. I think that's where I'm going with this. This guy's acting like an absolute tit, where he had no need to be. And considering he's grown up in this neighborhood, knowing how people would turn on him, the fact that he continued just boggles the mind. But yeah, he gets pasted, slapped about, and then unceremoniously dumped outside the bar, and his father just sits there quietly, finishing off his drink. Um, yeah, but it was just demonstrating that she's not one to be trifled with. And then it turned out because he's taken the family to the lake, they travel in to see him, and she basically asks him, right, my dad's out there still with his mate. Can you? I don't know where the hell they are. Can't ring them. Can't get reception. Can you check up? And that kind of leads up. So yeah, it's there's not really much of a plot in the end. It's just going sequence to sequence to get to the kills and encounter the boar. These guys are out splashing. What was a really good scene actually is the next when they're at the pool, they're splashing about, and Bernie decides he's going to go and check, drive down the fence line to see where Blue is, and the boar just attacks him in broad daylight and wrecks the car. Like that was some mixture of CGI and practical effects, and the way that trashed the car up as well, just brilliant. I don't think this is a very high budget movie, so the fact that the were able to pull this off, you got to give them props for it. It was actually believable. Like a boar would attack in the middle of the day. That was the whole thing. It's not normal behavior. Normally these animals only really threaten if their territory is being encroached on or they're cornered. Generally, they just keep out of people's way, especially humans, and they look for opportune targets. But yeah, and this is I think it brings in the fact this is a big dude. Guy plays Bernie, he's huge, and the fact that he's getting smacked about like a rag doll, just adds to the sort of horror of it. Yeah, he encounters one, he goes starts shooting at it, and then he runs back towards the family. But during this time, then Bruce or who is it? The American and the other guy, the son, the dipshit. He goes with stepdad to see where Bernie went for a look around, and this guy's talking about marrying his girlfriend. They've only been out like a couple of months. We've all been there. You know how it is. But then they encounter the boar, and friggin' the guy pushes him over. What a dipshit. They get killed. And you're like, you utter slime ball. What the hell are you doing? Like, it doesn't matter how scared you are. You don't friggin', especially if you're supposed to be family with them, you don't friggin' trip up marriage your own family. You can understand enemies going at it, but even at the end, two's better. No, one nods. Cards, man, they're something else. But yeah, this guy just shows himself to be an absolute dipshit and not worth his weight in shit, so to speak. Yeah, and it just goes on and on. We'll get another encounter scene, and everything kind of ramps up. In the meantime, is it Ella? Ella's the bar owner. I think she's the one that she's driving out then to busy find him. And while that's all ensues, it's don't know, I'm trying to think here. Sorry, just it kind of speeds on because they run away from the boar finds him again. They end up in this little wooden hut. Considering the fact that it's total car, they think that sitting in the hut is going to do something. And the thing just smashes in. The younger brother gets snatched. We'll get this weird emotional scene where she blames Bernie for it. And you're like, dude, what do you... I know you're grieving and all, but at the same time, fucking... This guy's already been beaten up. Yeah, but it all comes to a head. Ella kind of smashes her car pickup thing into it. And finally, get the better of it. Which, typical monster movie, finally they come to the end, they get it, use a shotgun this time, put enough holes in it. So, sorry, this one's taking a bit quicker because it's just an action flick. It's a horror action flick, let's be honest. And it's just basically fast paced, get the next kill, get the next encounter to the board, but it was still they never answered that. They never answered whether it was supernatural board. No, I think it was just extremely large. To say they don't get that big, that was it. So just an abnormally large boar. There was one scene where you see the large boar with the normal size boars, and they're just all gathered round together. So it was still being part of its pack, if that makes sense. So it was just one of them sort of freaks. Think Tremors movie. This has got a very sort of Tremors vibe to it. If you can put, your sort of salt of the earth workers, the community all knows each other. They encounter this thing, and then they all kind of rally together. But it's the ones that go into the outback. It doesn't come into the town or anything. The town's just basically a staging post to set the scene, which is decent enough. It didn't take away from the movie. Like I said, there wasn't much. It's an action flick with a bit of gory horror in it. It's you're not expecting much. Just a bit of lighthearted fun. The bit at the end though, the boar gets killed. As they drive off, you see another one take its place. So there's a whole pack of these huge boars, and that's kind of the premise. Yeah, I watched Tremors was a good movie. Like I said, the whole scene with Kevin Bacon and his co-star, the brothers, the whole setup, it's very similar in here. Families, community together, they all know each other, they all work together. There's no nastiness, all good natured banter. The only times when dipshit in this acts out, but he gets quickly taken care of and nobody steps in. They're all like, yep, you deserve that. End of story, police not involved, right? It's that sort of tight-knit community. So it's a very sort of Tremors vibe. I watched Tremors 2. Was it last weekend? Just off the cuff. I didn't feel like reviewing it because I think people have seen it, loads of times. I don't know why Kevin Bacon wasn't in it. Maybe just other commitments. But even that story didn't have a lot of the same. Only had 2 of the original cast. But still managed to tell a good story. I think there's about 5 of these movies. I've seen a few, but it's been ages. Might be worth looking at the whole franchise. Don't know whether to do that as a winner or or do a week and take each movie at a time. Decided, but yeah, it's that sort of similar vibe. So if you like that sort of vibe, you'll like this. The only difference is it's not mid America somewhere. This is the Australian outback, but you've got that same sense of community, sense of loss, sense of togetherness, and then facing up against the odds, and that sort of spunkiness that you'd never get in a big city, and this happened in the big city, everyone would be knifing each other in the back and denying it and doing all sorts, freaking out and panicking, where everyone just picks up their pickup, axe handle or shotgun and just cracks on. But there you go. I really enjoyed this one. I know I might have stumbled over there wasn't much of a plot. It wasn't much, but it was still enjoyable. I mean, it's one just to flick on, have a laugh with, see a bit of gore, and they did a really good job. Some of the CGI in this is a bit sloppy, but they don't use too much of it. The practical effect board itself was a lot of fun, and the fact that when it bashes against things and all, you see its furs actually get ripped out. There's a realism to that, a bit of extra detail that they didn't have to. A lazy movie would have just put blood, drop blood around the places, but they actually went to the trouble of putting the fur in where it had been, so that adds to it. And you got apart from Dipshit's character, who tripped over the other one, there's quite a lot of characters in this, but even though there's a lot of characters and a lot of kills, you had a minute to get to know them, so you actually developed a bit of a liking for them. Like I said, the most tragic death in this is Blues. He was a great character, and they set him up almost to be the hero. When nearly thought Bernie was going to get wiped out, and thankfully it didn't, but still set him up as a great character. So when they encountered the Boar and they get dispatched, you're like, oh, that's a bit shit. And that's good storytelling in this sort of environment, in this sort of low budget horror environment. The fact that they've managed to get enough characterization to make you feel something for each individual cast members to come along, that's good writing, and I have to give them props for that. There's huge budget movies where you're just saying meh, and you kind of go along with A-list actors, and they're like wooden planks. These guys all had characters, so even not necessarily always good characters, but they had character, and you can't argue with that. So there you go. There's actually 7 Tremors movies. Yeah. Don't disbelieve it. And I've seen like I said, I've seen a couple of them. I didn't really jump in because it was back in the straight to DVD days, I think they come out. I'll see if there's a box set. If there's a box set, I might get it and do an unboxing. Bound to be that's such a long running franchise. But I'm going to look up Drop. I'm going to look that one up and get it on the list. See if I can watch it fully this week. Hopefully, I've not got a regional problem, because I freaking hate that. I hate it when you try to watch a movie and it's not available in your region. Yep, tomorrow we are doing that. We'll go through your character. We'll get that all set up, and then we'll get started with the adventure and see where we'll go there. Should be a good time. Haven't played because since the last time I was on the channels. Last time I played Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, so looking forward to it. I need to get more games in. Kind of letting that go by the wayside, but it's bloody hard to get players. There's a lot of people online talking about wanting to be part of games, and then you try and reach out, and you're like, very strange. But anyway, that's another video for another time. So tune in tomorrow. We're definitely doing that, and keep up with the plenty going on as usual. Thanks for the chat, everyone joining in, and until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.